Hey guys, so hopefully you can hear me alright. The cicadas are quite loud today. um, so I am invoking the balance, otherwise known as Chris, and this is, well, you're watching Peppermint Juju 2.0. And this week's topic is deity, or deity, how everybody else has demonstrated saying it in different words. So, how I see deity, in the broadest term possible, I guess I would be classified as a soft polytheist. Okay, I always explain it like a tree to people. To me, each god or goddess is entirely separate, like they're their own person, but yet they're connected in the sense that they all come from the same essence, or perhaps energy, or pool, if you will. So if we're using the tree trunk idea, then say that like source energy, or whatever you want to call that, would be the trunk itself. And that would be like the essence that is in everything. You, me, everything. And then as the tree goes out, you get into the limbs. And the limbs are like the archetypes. You know what I mean? And then as you go out from the limbs, you get into the branches. Or my phone, apparently. As you go out from the limbs, you get into the branches. And the branches are the pantheons, if you will, or the gods and goddesses even. We could go that way. And from the gods and goddesses, there are these twigs and leaves, and they are us and the animals and whatnot. So I think that we are all connected in that sense, but we are separate entirely at the same time. Because, I mean, if you cut off one limb, that really doesn't give you shade in the same spot. Because, you know, you're like, oh, we'll cut off the left limb, but the right limb's good. We don't need shade over here because the right limb will take care of the left. No, it won't. Like, that left limb needs to be there. It is something entirely separate, but grew from the same place. So that's kind of how I see deity. I wouldn't use like the diamond facet analogy necessarily for me, because I think the idea of the whole different facets on one diamond, which a lot of people describe, at least for me personally, is more like they are all one being, and it's different faces. To me, it's not different faces. Like, they are different beings, but the energy that they run off of, their essence, their life force, comes from the same place, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, and obviously I believe in like animism and all of this. I'm very into the native side of things, so that's a given. And what else can I say? Well, I guess I could take this time to talk a little bit about the deities that I work with directly. So I have two mothers. A lot of people have matrons and patrons, like one mother and one father, essentially. But for me, while I do work with some male gods, they are not in the forefront, like my two mothers. And instead of having a mother and father, obviously I have two mothers. One, well, both of them chose me, but one does not make entire sense within a lot of the stuff that I believe and my ancestry worship that I deal very heavily with more of the heathen, or for those of you who are not really familiar with that term, I'll use a more politically incorrect version of like Viking-esque kind of culture, if you will. Germanic, and a lot of the titles that Rob used, actually. And then the native side also, I have a lot of. Those are the main things that I work with, because the main foundation of everything to me is ancestry. It's my spiritual posse. But I'm getting off topic here, aren't I? So let's go to deity. Deities, right? So, one is Hecate. You'll have to excuse the kids yelling outside. School is out. So, the first one is Hecate. Hecate I see differently than a lot of people. Even though she is Greek, to me she isn't. And I know people are going to go, what are you talking about? She's Greek. Like, the name is Greek. And I get that. But she's also the goddess of the crossroads because she she surfaced, should I say. She surfaced in a place where there was a literal crossroads of trading and cultures going back and forth. So really, I don't think that she was originally Greek at all. I think that she has been around the block. And that's just my personal opinion. So to me, she feels like the primordial essence of what the womb is and that spark of life within it. There's really no other way for me to say that. So while I use a lot of her Greek imagery, for me, she isn't a triple goddess for me. For me, the triple aspect of her is not maiden, mother, crone. It's land, sea, and sky, or the three roads that she can see down, basically. And land, sea, and sky was what she was giving rule over in terms of the Greek stuff. So, I mean, I am fascinated by mythology. I do go along with a lot of the Greek stuff, but I don't think that she began at the Greek, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, then let's talk about hell really quick, because I'm like 7 minutes in. So hell, a lot of people don't know about hell. And a lot of people are very confused when I speak about hell. Hell is the Norse goddess of the underworld, or the underworlds, I should say, because in Norse mythology there are 9 separate worlds, and she rules over the lower ones, the roots, if you will. And hell is seen as half living and half dead. So she is both light and dark, death and birth. She is a balance of everything. And she sees a purpose in everything. That's what I love about her is, you know, hell would be that person to send someone out to like a dump and find something and bring it home and paint it and flip it upside down and turn it inside out and make this beautiful piece of like furniture or artwork or whatever into something useful and beautiful again. She sees the potential where maybe others don't. And in that, she also, her halls are said to basically be among the worst of the worst in terms of people, because part of being in the underworld, she basically takes all the souls that do not die in battle. Okay? So within that area, and there's like levels and all this, and I'm not even getting into that, but the worst of the worst she keeps close to her. She keeps her personal quarters where they are. And I always saw this a lot like how she sees the potential in things that maybe others would see a waste. I think that she sees that everyone needs to be loved and understood. Even the worst of the worst, you know, had a mother, had family, had something. And in keeping with my personal belief of reincarnation, I think that that speaks on an even broader scale because of that. So it's not even that specific life, it's like all of them. You know, you might be a murderer in this one and a victim in the other. Hell sees the true neutral there. She sees that there is potential in everyone, and that there is a balance, and it's a learning process. Both of them are very hard love kind of women. So is my phone, apparently. I need to turn that off when I make these. But yeah, so that's Hel and Hecate. I also work with the grandmothers, but they are not so much goddesses to me as they are like they're like honored ancestors. So we won't get into them. Um, I work with Odin. Odin has seemed like a grandfather to me. I do a lot of my rune stuff through him. Um, because at least in my eyes, like, you have to have Odin in it if it has the runes. He gave us the runes, in essence. So that and my last name has to do with him. So that's a whole thing too. But yeah, and then also I work with Loki. Loki is like the, with all due respect, the crazy uncle who spiked the punch bowl kind of deal. Always stirring the pot, always creating change, but not always bad. A lot of times it's pretty fun and freeing. So he's more of like a guide to me, for lack of a better way to say it. So the men are not in the foreground. The women most certainly are. But those are the main deities that I work with. So most of all, so mostly they're like Norse pantheon, I guess. So that is my version of deity. That is how I view it in a nutshell. That is who I work with, because I realize I don't really talk about them a lot, at least on YouTube. People who know me probably get sick of me talking about them. But on YouTube, for some reason, whatever reason, I just don't talk about them that much. But this has been quite a long video of me rambling. If you have any questions at all or anything like that, my YouTube, like I said, is Invoking the Balance, and or you can comment below and I'll respond. So I will see you guys later. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I'll see you on the call, which is tomorrow at 10 Eastern Standard Time. So don't miss it. Alright, bye guys, love ya.